All right. All right. So welcome to day 20 of Immerse. This is our finale. We're going to do some fun things today. We're going to role play. We're going to go over some last things about what is it like to support our coaches. And as coaches, what are some of the things that we can expect from our mentors as well? So we're going to go through all of that. We're going to recap a lot of what we learned week 1, week 2, week 3, and then this final week, and then we'll have a Q&A, and we're going to stop the recording for the Q&A because I want you guys to really experience unplugged, okay? So we will not be recording the unplugged portion of this because we're going to talk as family, and we're going to have the ability to ask things without feeling like it was silly or it lives on YouTube or any of that. Sound good? Okay, so the last little bit. So be thinking about what you want to ask someone that might be a couple steps ahead of you. Or maybe they're not, but they just have like a skill that you admire. And you're like, I want to show up in this way, like this person does, right? So I want you to be thinking about that now so that at the end, you have plenty of time to ask those questions of whomever on this team. We're all family. So anyway, with that, I want to kind of frame things up today with a big idea. Have you guys ever seen the movie Sliding Doors with Gwyneth Paltrow? Anyone seen that movie? No? So in summary, it's like she gets on a train. Just kind of picture it this way. If she gets on the train, her life goes that way. But if she misses the train, her life went that way. And so the movie shows both scenarios, okay? It's really cool. If you guys haven't seen it, it's a good movie for the weekend, Sliding Doors. But that's what's happening right now in your life. And I don't always recognize sliding door moments where it's like, oh, wow, that was a sliding door moment in my life. I either got on the train and it went that way, or I missed my train, which could have been divine and perfect, right? And I'm where I am now because I missed that train. So I'm wondering if you guys are starting to recognize that and see that if you step on the train, fully immerse, right? Go under the water, immerse, submerge yourself into this opportunity. I gave it a time span. I said, you know what? Toe dipping is not inspiring. I've never seen anybody's life change by toe dipping. I've never admired anybody that toe dipped. So I think my best bet for this opportunity is going to be to go all in and do it for a time period that makes sense. Because if I have to go back for a degree, how long is that? If I was going to be a registered dental assistant, how long is that? If I was going to become a fireman paramedic, how long is that? So I gave this opportunity fairness and equity. And I said, you know what? 5 years. That sounds good. 5, 7. I think I'll know by then if it's something that I need to pursue even more. But I wasn't going to bargain anymore. See, I had bargained for my first year. And I wasn't bargaining because I didn't get the mission or the vision as much as I just had an identity that I was like, this is my identity. I don't know how this fits. So sometimes we hold on to an identity that has nothing to do with our wildest dreams. Nothing. It's just our identity. I'm a teacher. I'm a this. I love Doug Wood. Doug Wood, he's like, why every time did I get on an airplane, did I tell people that I owned a big furniture store? Like they weren't even in my state. They couldn't even buy furniture from me. But I was this big furniture store owner and I was very proud about that, but I couldn't change lives with that. He said it was so long until I started introducing myself as my future self. I train and develop transformational health coaches. Like he couldn't get that out of his mouth. And so I'm just wondering if you guys are having these shifts like I am, like, just because I'm on this side of the Zoom today does not mean that I don't sit here at night and just go, whoa, that was for me. That was for me. That was for me. I shift all day long, you guys, 4.5 years in, I'm shifting all day long. It's not going to stop. So get used to that. So this is a sliding door moment in your life. Promise you. I don't know what it should look like, but I just know that there's something massive that could happen if you got on the train with 2 feet and literally gave it your all, like you have done everything else maybe that hasn't served you up to this point, or has, no shame. Tim loves being a paramedic. He doesn't begrudge the time that it took to become a paramedic, but it took time and it took effort and it took all in. So that's really where I want to start today. Where are you guys at with that? Scale of 1 to 10. You don't have to put it in the chat. This is for you. Scale of 1 to 10, being really honest with oneself. Where are you at with being all in? 1 to 10. Think about it. And if there's a gap there, my encouragement is to talk with someone about that gap. Okay, not just keep it inside. So today we're going to talk about team coaching. We're going to wrap up our week. How do we support teams of coaches? Are we leaders of leaders, or are we going to be leaders of followers? That's going to take time, but it's going to take trainings like this for you to be awakened to say, wow, I don't want to be a leader of followers. I want to be a leader of leaders. And that's going to take a lot of soft skills, hard skills, and personal development. So with that, let's kind of talk about the big idea of week 1. Week 1, the big idea. What did we start with? How do we tell our stories? So I'm going to ask you guys, how are you doing with that? What's your story? Have you worked on it? Is it getting better? Is it rolling off of your tongue? Do you have quick ways to lean into people that are curious about what you're doing? How's your story? We started our whole training with that. We tell our real stories on social media. We tell them at the grocery store. We tell them at parties. How are you doing with telling your real story? Not the one that's all cleaned up or whatever, but the real story. How are you showing up in life differently? The second week, we went to and that helps us to acquire clients. Okay, the clients are not acquiring Optavia. They don't even know about Optavia. They're acquiring you. So like, how's your brand, right? That's what we talked about week 1. Is it inspiring? Is it educational? Is it engaging? Is it something that they look forward to your updates? Like, how is your brand? And if I went to your page, would I be able to convict you, right? Remember what Doug Wood said? Would I be able to convict you of being able to help me? That was week 1. Week 2 was, how do we support those clients? Do we drag them? Do we barrage them? Do we throw balls at their head until they respond to us? Or do we awaken and inspire and lead by example and connect them and set expectations for their part of this journey and stop hero coaching and all of those things that we learned week 2? Do we set the vision right then and there that they will outgrow us? And that is the goal. And that we're a small part of their journey, but they have a huge community behind them. How well are we telling that story? Week 3, we talked about identifying your coaching partners within your client base. 4 of them will refer, 1 will coach. We're starting to see this be even more than that, but that's the worst case scenario. So if we have 5 clients that we added this month, you do have 1 coach there. And then the other 4 need to be taught and developed on how to ambassador this program so we can change the world. We're not going to change the world with this antidote if it's a secret and if we're being shy about it and if we don't say from the very beginning You will help me to help people. That's the whole intention of this program. Remember when I told you if I worked for NA, Narcotics Anonymous, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to do all 11 steps. But you know that 12th step, that sponsoring thing you guys keep talking about? Yeah, I'm not going to do that. They'd be like, that's great. You missionally don't align with us. Your vision is something very different than what we had. So the question I have for you guys is, are you bought in missionally? And do we share the same vision? Because Dr. A's vision is each one is going to teach one. And if that hasn't been clear to this point to your clients, you're hiding the truth. I love you, but you're hiding the truth. Okay, so that's 1 out of 5 are going to come alongside you and be your coaching partner. They're not your coach. They're not your coaches. They are in an organization that you are privileged to steward, but they are not your coaches. We don't belong to each other in that way. It's reciprocal. It's reciprocal. And yes, you're going to have strategic partners that come alongside you that are going to build amazing things with you. But not everybody's going to want to do that. And we have to equip each coach at every level of where they're at. And we don't drag them and we don't convince them and we don't persuade them. We awaken them and we lead by example and we show them something that they don't have, that they desire to have in you. So that's what really is going on. I want to get into a little bit of role playing because we're going to talk about team coaching. So let's just kind of be a little bit connective here so that you can draw this connection. How many of our clients do well in a self-directed program? What percentage of your clients are crushing it that are on a self-directed program? Yeah, 0 of mine too. Even if they're losing weight, they're not doing well because there is 0 cognitive work, behavioral work happening. So yeah, 0%. So the same is true with our business. If we do coaching in a self-directed way, we're going to hurt the client. We're going to totally hinder the mission. And we're definitely not going to have as much fun. And fun should be a part of this, don't you think? I mean, I want to have fun. I have more fun with you guys than I do by myself. That's for sure. So team coaching is fun. But we come into this sometimes with what kind of mentality do you think most of us come in with in this business? Is it a CEO mindset, you think? Is it an employee mindset? Is it an investor mindset? What kind of mindset do you think we start out with in the sliding door moments here? How are we showing up for that? Employee, I saw it a bunch of times. Employee. So do employees like to have someone watching what they do? Nope, not at all. It's like, cool, I'm doing something wrong because you're watching me. That's the problem. Or if I need you, I'll let you know. So just like I said, they're not your coaches. They're also not your clients. Like there's sometimes this possessive nature that comes into our business. Like this is my client and I'm going to protect them from everybody. Well, what you're protecting them from is breakthrough, actually. So there's no need to protect your client from team coaching. It's a gift. And there's still lines in our business, okay, that are resisting it. They're resisting it. And it's a little bit upsetting because it kind of puts the client out. And so I want to come into that today and have you notice it without being judgmental of yourself. And I want to ask you if you would be willing to be open, coachable, and curious as to why team coaching will benefit you all of the time. Okay? And let me even give this little caveat. Even when your mentor isn't doing it the way you want, they need growth too. It's reciprocal coaching. There's times that your mentor needs your feedback to say, you know what? In all the trust and appreciation, can I give you a little bit of feedback on this? Because this is how I'm experiencing that. And they're like, you know, the mentor can either be closed, fixed, and opinionated about that feedback, or they could be in a growth mindset saying, thank God I have such amazing leaders that are going to show me my blind spots and show me how I show up, because I certainly didn't arrive here with it all together. So team coaching is not about inspecting you. It's about growing everybody on the call. The client growing, being forwarded, the mentor being forwarded, the mentee being forwarded. It's a beautiful vision of everybody gets to grow in a trusted, emotionally safe space where there's not judgment, there's just an excitement about who we're all going to become. Okay, so if you could allow that to happen, that is what you will experience. Okay, more than not. And all right, so this morning, where do we see team coaching? So here's a little bit of writing down to do. These are things that you'll never do by yourself. When I say never, don't be legalistic on me on that one, because there does come a time when does there come a time? Let me be super clear. When duplication is not able to be questioned, it may be time to take that skill, if it was a skill, on your own. But when you see duplication stop in your organization, then there is a great need for team coaching. Okay, so it's like, maybe you can do it, but can your mentee do it? And can the mentee's mentee do it? And is it going 6 layers down so that every client has a consistent client experience? If the answer is no, then you might be a leader of followers that hasn't yet created duplicity all the way down. And that's okay. That's why we can raise our hand and tell our mentor, I don't think that I have this skill. Well, I do, but you know what? It's weird. It goes here and here, but then when I look right here, it stops. And so that means that those clients here down are not getting the same experience that you did. That's the 911. It's not my coach isn't listening to me and they're not doing what I said and they're going rogue and they're so frustrating. Well, yeah, it is frustrating because we're human beings. But at the end of the day, the desire to awaken them and say, Tammy, I'm noticing that you brought on 6 clients last month, but I haven't met any of them. What's the resistance to them experiencing what you experienced? And then I have to know why she's not, right? Like, what's going on? Like, help me understand. And then if I go into that with no story and just fact, like leave the story out and just ask, right? Like, Tammy, where's the resistance? And then I'm going to hear something that's going to help me to love her and grow her every time. It'll be like, well, these people are really private and, all the things. And I get to slowly and through trust and prayerfully good leadership, awaken her to seeing it a little differently. Okay. That's my job as a mentor, is to not convince her, but to understand the resistance and step into it and help her to discover something more. Maybe then she can see in a self-directed way, right? When we think, we just recycle our own thoughts all day long. We're like a vortex of our own ideas. So we need that feedback. So where do we see team coaching? 2-week call, always, always, always. Okay. If you're doing those by yourself, I don't know how that could even align, right, with all the things that we teach. So 2-week calls, not to be done independently, always with a mentor on the line to do multiple things, guys. There's multiple things that need to be done on that call. It's not about you. And I'm going to get into that call in just a minute. A struggle call. My client is having gastrointestinal issues. She just canceled her premiere. And it's not going to work out for her. Okay, time out. Let's make sure mentors are involved with any exit strategies with clients, because there are so many pivots that you guys may not consider. I can honestly, earnestly say that when I'm invited to those calls, they usually do not proceed with a cancellation. I'm going to say 95% of the time. Okay. So that would say it could be a skill, or it could be a relationship snag, meaning you're too close to your client. That's your cousin. That's your coworker. That's your neighbor. And you're going to need somebody just a little more removed to get in there and do the struggle call. Okay. So like once upon a time when I worked in corporate, we had something called a post-mortem call that had to happen. So if someone was leaving our organization, we had to have like an exit interview to say, why are we not seeing value anymore? What happened? What happened to the why? What happened to the, but see here, we just don't do that. We just let people walk out the door. And we don't know if they needed a 4 and 2, a 3 and 3, if they just needed to have some help planning around the holiday, that they didn't know they could break fat burn on Thanksgiving and come back in. There's so many assumptions that happen. And this is why our attrition is higher than it should be, because we're not involving other people when people walk out the door. Walking out the door should be a big deal. This should be a 911 to all of us. And I'm shooting on you because my passion is for the mission, and I can't believe that they came and went that quick. It's like, what did we miss, right? What did we miss? So hold on to that. Struggle calls should involve a mentor. If you want low attrition, higher rates of seeing your revenue grow every month instead of being flat. Coach Explorers should not be on your own. Now there are, like when you guys are at a certain place in your business where it's undeniable that you have the skill 6 layers down, that could change. Now I'm going to ask you this though. If the numbers start dropping, no matter what rank you're at, you could be intergalactical, whatever. But if your numbers are down at that rank, I would bring my mentor back into my organization and say, hey, we brought on 80 clients in the last 2 months, and our sponsoring numbers were single digit. Like something's up. Can you help us? That's where the ego's got to go, right? And you got to look at the numbers and say, regardless of my rank, I don't know what's happening, but maybe I lost my mojo or something. Okay. So that is not always, look at the numbers. The numbers will tell you how you're doing, not your rank. Your ratios tell you how you're doing, not your rank. So number of health assessments to number of clients to number of integration calls to number of coach explorers to number of coaching partners. So if you're not looking at your batting average, you could be resting on your rank thinking, I'm good, I'm a this. Doesn't matter. If the numbers are dropping, you got to go back in and say, man, it might be a soft skill, a hard skill, my posture, or maybe I'm burnt out and I need a rest day or something. I don't know, but something's not working. My balance, like, who knows? Okay. So the meet and greet where the coach gets to meet their mentorship team that's bigger than you. Meet and greet should always be happening. Otherwise, imagine this. You have a problem with your coach, right? They've never met the organization, me, Tim, whomever, right? They don't know who we are. And you guys know you do them with your frontline mentors. But imagine when they're having an issue, now we're on the call. They're like, what is this? Is this like some kind of like closer that just came in? I've got no relationship with these people. I've never even met them. So you could see the awkwardness of that, right? Whereas if we welcome them together and we're so excited that you're here and all of that, and they know they've got multiple people investing in them, it goes a lot different, okay? So these are not, let me give you one big headline. These are not competencies. These things are always done in team coaching because they show the vision and mission. We don't like, well, I'm competent enough to do that. I know, but you're one person and you can't reflect all of these things and you'll never be enough for them. Okay. Senior coach celebration calls, we don't do those alone. ED celebration calls, we don't do those alone. Okay. So let's do a little bit of role playing. So I've got a client. I've got Miss Kristen here. She's my client. I'm going to ask her to unmute. And I've got Miss Julie, and she's the coach. Okay. So Julie is going to introduce me. I'm Julie's coach, and this is her client, Kristen. Okay. So she's going to introduce me in a way that's super awkward. Okay. Come on. You know what that looks like. And then you're going to introduce me in a way that would set me up and the client up for success. Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Kristen, I'm so glad you could hop on the phone today. How are you doing?
Good.
Yeah. My mentor's on the phone. She's on here too. Can you see her on your screen? Because she just really wanted to be on this call to be sure that, we're doing everything right with your program. You cool with that?
Yeah, I see her.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Go ahead, Rachel.
All right. Awesome. Well, hi, Kristen. How are you doing? Good. Good. So do you guys see, that was the awkward intro. Okay. Pretty sketchy, right? I would not be like, oh, yay. Let me talk to Rachel. Would this feel like one of those things? Whatever those things are.
Yes.
Is this one of those things? Yeah, it is. It's weird. Okay. If you're doing that, no judgment, notice it and go, oh my gosh, maybe this is why they don't want to keep getting on team calls with me. It's a soft skill. We can teach you, your mentors can teach you. We want you to do it better because it'll serve your client. Okay. All right. And then now we're going to do a proper team coaching introduction.
Hope I can do this right.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, ladies. It's so good to see you, Kristen. Rachel and I are here to celebrate your first 2 weeks of your program, and we are so excited for you and what's next. I want you to meet my friend, Rachel. She is also my coach. We are very, very good friends, and we do this coaching together because we love to create community for you right out of the gate. And she is going to lead the call today, and we're just gonna celebrate your wins and give you some next steps. Does that sound good?
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Okay, awesome.
Yay. All right, great. So those are fun things to do, right? Thank you, Julie. That was awesome. I know I put you on the spot.
And then you mute yourself.
And then you mute yourself, but don't demean yourself, okay? Like, I don't have anything to add. I'm just gonna be back. Like, no. Because the structure of this call is to give them the trust to talk to your mentor. So the framework of the 2-week, big rocks. We have to edify you. So I have to be able to say I'm going to say this to Kristen. I'm going to say, Kristen, how blessed are you to work with this lady? Like, is she not amazing? And can I just tell you, I've worked with her for several years. She's so dedicated to her own client journey, which is what inspired you. And it inspires me. But at the same time, she's so humble and coachable and just a constant student of our systems. And we learn from each other all the time. Julie teaches me stuff all the time that I didn't know. So I'm not on here because she doesn't know her stuff. I'm on here because you deserve community and to be celebrated. How are you going to say that about yourself? If you do, it's going to be real awkward because that would be tooting your own horn. We need to toot your horn on that call. We need to show that, hey, if you're not leaning into this lady, wow, you're missing the boat, man, because she's good. Like, she's dedicated to what she's doing, but she's still learning, and you'll teach her stuff and she'll teach you stuff. And that's what I love about our program. It's not about expertise. It's experiential, reciprocal coaching. So thank you for being here today. So that is super important. The introduction could be said in a number of ways. I might even say, If I was Julie, I might even, and she's done this before, where she's like, Rachel and I, our kids go to school together. Brian and her husband are really good friends. I trust her so much, and I'm so glad that she was able to make a few minutes to get on this call. She has said that too. So it's like what she's doing is she's bringing walls down for the client. Okay. So at the end of the day, does that make more sense to you guys in terms of how to introduce? So there's a lot of affirming that happens. Affirming the client, affirming the coach, and affirming the mentor, so that there starts to be this very trusted space. Because guys, if they coach with you, are they going to need to know me? Right? Like if Kristen says yes, she's ready to rock and roll. And on that call, we're going to go through team coaching. Check that off on your list. We're going to see how integrated she is. Okay. So when I say to her, oh my gosh, Kristen, how are you loving the life book? It's been 2 weeks. Like, what are you learning about yourself in that life book? And she'll either say, I haven't picked it up, or I'm loving it, right? And now we get to talk. How are you loving our community? And she'll either say, I'm not a Facebook person. I hate Facebook, or this or that. And I get to awaken her to that. So on the call, the 2-week call, we're there to check integration, celebrate the heck out of them. I say things like, can I just tell you how amazing you are that while most of the country is just asleep at the wheel, not designing a life that serves them, that you stepped out of that and you said, no, I want a conscious life. And I just want to tell you that you're here and you're going to be able to develop a whole new life. We're not here to give you a diet. We're here to give you a new way of living, and really inspire her. Now you may say, well, I don't have those skills yet to do that. We know that's why we have team coaching. But at the very end of that call, I want to tell you how it goes. It goes like this. Kristen, your sleep has gone from a 2 to a 10. That's incredible. In how many days? In 14 days, you're down 4.5 pounds, or whatever it is, a couple of inches. Your body's loving this. Your energy, you said, is through the roof. People are questioning it, which is exciting. You're getting a lot done. How exciting will that be for the holidays to be full of energy? I'm going to go through and recap the shares that happen on the call. I don't have time to pull all of that out, or else we won't have our Q&A. But I'm going to go through and recap. So if I'm understanding you correctly, Kristen, your whole life is starting to change, and that's happened in 14 days. And then she's going to say, yeah, I know, it's crazy, or whatever she says. I'm going to say, awesome. Well, here's the thing. You're not going to be able to hide it. Can't hide transformation. You are going to be a walking billboard of vitality. That's what's going to happen. Everywhere you go, everyone you see is going to be impacted by your transformation. We're a program that will teach you how to handle that and handle it well in a way that's going to serve your changes and make them permanent. We thought of that. We know that you're a walking billboard. You're not going to be able to hide the transformation. So there's 2 ways that you'll be able to pay this forward. One is referrals. You can refer people to Julie, and that would be amazing. It would be like that starfish thing, like it matters for this one, it matters for this one, but you know what it won't do? It won't cement your changes. So the second way that we have our program set up is that each one will teach one. We have that baked into the program, the ability for you to help people that you love to start feeling as good as you are on day 14. So what we need to do is set up a call where we explore referring versus guiding. There are differences. This is not, let me be very clear about this. Let me ask a question first, Kristen. Were you persuaded to do this program? No, you're not going to be persuaded to do either one on this call. This is an informational meeting, and we do it with every client because there's no way that you're going to be able to hide this, nor are you going to want to. You're going to want to take a lot of people with you, I'm imagining. Do you already have people on your mind right now that you're like, they need this, like I did? Are you experiencing any of that where you're just like, oh my gosh, so-and-so needs this? So what we're going to do is set up a call in the next couple of days to a week. Let's get our calendars out right now. And this meeting is to explore referring versus guiding. Your 3 answers to guiding: no, thank you, I'll refer. And we'll teach you how to do that really well. And there's incredible benefits to that too. I will guide, but not yet, or I will guide now. And we're not going to weigh in on your responses. We're just going to give you the information to make a sound-minded decision. Okay. So let's set that call up now, and then we'll go forward. Guys, when we do this, hand on a Bible, 95 to 100% of the time we get a Coach Explore. Now, here's what's happening. Are they all turning into coaches overnight? No. We're getting a lot of not yet, but this was awesome. I didn't even know I could do this. But when I'm ready, yeah. Or you know what? No, thank you. No, thank you. My season of life, as far as I could see, I can't see coaching, but I can see referring a lot of people to Julie, and I'm willing to do that. And now Julie's blowing up with referrals. And, or you know what? I think I'm going to go for it. I was telling Julie I already had 3 referrals to give her. Based off this meeting, I think I could do it, and I'm excited to coach with her, right? 3 possible responses. Guys, no one is getting weirded out or like, oh, that's terrible that you offered me this. Nobody has that perception. I haven't found one person that was turned off by the information. The only thing that turns them off is when it's like, you're going to make an amazing coach. Look at, if you don't coach, you are going to gain all your weight back. And this, and oh, okay. That's one way to go, but it's not the best way to go. And so we know they're going to gain their weight back and all of that, but we don't scare people into opportunities, right? We inspire them into that awakening. So if your 2-week call doesn't sound like that and isn't having that effect, it needs to be re-engineered. It needs soft skills and it needs hard skills until it results in Coach Explores 90 to 95% of the time, because that is what we're seeing from teams that dedicate themselves to doing it that way. Okay, so it's a benchmark. That's something to shoot for. All right, so the last couple minutes, guys, we've got a lot of people on that have built incredible businesses. They have failed in areas. They have succeeded in areas. Let's just kind of have a Q&A. I am going to stop the recording here so that you guys can be unplugged in that. So let me go ahead and do that.